Coming from a huge success like Ted Lasso, I think that you could be tempted to repeat yourself. And after watching the first 4 episodes of Shrinking, I can see some similarities in the tone mainly. But what would you say that makes this stand out for itself?
Look, I without a doubt have kind of a tone and voice to my shows that I like to write about. You know what I mean? I hope it feels different enough in subject matter that you know, I'm certainly not going to copy, you know, Ted Lasso's world, but I think it's just indicative of the fact that I like to do comedy that has emotional undercurrents and that is hopefully, you know, about something more than just making people laugh. And this one's kind of about grief and our journey from the dark to the light. So I really enjoy it because I think it's a universal theme right now that everybody's kind of dealing with it in their lives. Yeah, and about that ability that you have to tell these emotional stories. I think that, and this is the thing that I love most about the show, is that this is a happy space that you can talk about serious issues like mental health, but through a really optimistic lens. So do you think that audience was craving for that in this era of the dark anti-heroes, to have this more optimistic view? Look, I think it's a great question because I've been doing this for a long time, Alejandro, and what's interesting is that when I started in television, people didn't like to deal comedically with things like medicine or mental health, you know what I mean, or therapy or any of that stuff. And it always intrigued me because the shows I loved I loved MASH. You know, as a first show as a kid, I just dated myself. But the mixture of silly, broad comedy and like, oh my God, people are dying. And people laughing their way through it. I hope it works. I don't care. I do care if it does not work because I love everybody, but the experience has still been great. The reason I'm hopeful is nowadays you can actually go out and try to sell a show about grief, you know, and say, hey, this is a show about grief, and it's going to be funny. And it's going to be funny because everybody here is at least tangentially dealing with this. I guarantee you, you know someone that passed away or someone who's got a sick parent or someone who's going through something. And if we can make that funny and a little bit hopeful and inspiring, man, I think people might dig on watching it. So that's the most fun thing about my career right now, is that people take a chance on stuff like that. As far as anti-heroes go, I just always find flawed characters more interesting. You know, it's hard to write a comedy about someone with no faults.
Yeah, you were saying that when you were a kid, you watched MASH. When I was a kid, I used to watch SCRUBS, which is a show that I truly love, and is one of the best sitcoms ever. It's one of the shows that made me fall in love with TV. So from that time, that was 20 years ago, which sounds like a lot of time ago, what lessons can you take you still apply now that you are working, I mean, on 3 shows simultaneously on Apple? And we are living in a really different TV landscape right now.
Yeah, Alejandro, you said I was laughing because it's the nicest compliment I've gotten all day, and it also made me feel like I was 1,000 years old. But it's okay, man. No matter what you say or write, you just have to say that he looks very boyish, and I'll be fine. Look, the thing I learned, I think the most fun thing about doing my job is if you enjoy evolving and changing. Okay, I couldn't do Spin City now. I couldn't do Scrubs now. I bet you in 5 years, 10 years, it wouldn't be a surprise if I was talking to you and I said Ted Lasso wouldn't work now. So, you know, what I've learned is that there's certain type of writers. There's auteurs out there that are going to do movies that are in their voice, and their characters and world will age as they do, and their worldview. What I find invigorating is surrounding myself with young men and women. I'm the oldest writer by far on this show. If I was trying to write Lukita, who plays Alice, or Luke Tenney, who plays Sean, if I was trying to write their stuff, it wouldn't be authentic. So what I've learned is to embrace changing with the times and where the world is at, both comedically, politically, everything, and see it as a challenge rather than to complain about, oh, you can't do stories like this anymore. It's fun to evolve, you know?
Okay, thank you so much, and thanks for your work. And I'm not even 30, so I'm not that old. So.